Good morning. So this is the fifth and final week of our series we've been calling When God Doesn't Make Sense. We've been looking at things that God does or doesn't do that just don't make sense. Today we're looking at why God's timing is not our timing. We hear the story of Martha and Mary and Lazarus. That here it refers to them as friends of Jesus. But we know that they were extremely good friends. That Jesus, on his way to Jerusalem, used to stop and to stay in their house. That they were like family. That he truly loved them with all his heart. So when Jesus received word from Martha and Mary that Lazarus was ill, what did he do? Did he rush over there and ran to be by his bedside? Did he get there as quickly as he could? No. It says that he remained for 2 days in the place that he was. But that doesn't make any sense. By the time he gets there, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. And Martha reminds him that he's late, but she also expresses her faith in Jesus. Then sister shows up, Mary, and that she's a mess. She's weeping and crying, but like Martha, Mary also expresses her faith. And what did Jesus do? Did he immediately go to work? Or he wept? That he wept along with Mary. He understands her emotion. He shares it. He experiences the grief with her. Then he leapt into action and went to the tomb and had them roll away the stone. But he didn't do it himself, but he had others do the work. And everyone expected the stench to just rush out. Instead, Jesus prayed over the tomb and he cried out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." And the dead man came out. And we learn that many of the Jews who had seen what Jesus did put their faith in Jesus. It's the understatement of the year. The dead rising and walking from his tomb. That some scholars identify Jesus' decision to raise Lazarus from the dead as his own decision to go to the cross. There's no turning back. And after this event, all the things are set into motion and the authorities are resolved to kill him. But still, begs the question, why did he wait? Why didn't he come to Lazarus' aid right away? That he wasn't late. He knew that he could perform a greater miracle that would lead more people to faith if he waited. God's timing was perfect. It just made no sense in the moment. And lost in translation in the culmination of the story is a little detail that is oftentimes easy to overlook. When Jesus says, "Roll away the stone." If Jesus could raise a man from the dead, he certainly had the ability to move the stone aside himself. But he doesn't. He asks for help. This, in fact, is a pattern that he demonstrated all throughout the Gospels. He asks for help. He insisted upon it, in fact. There's not a single instance where Jesus just performs a miracle without the support, the assistance, or the cooperation of those involved. Over and over again, his friends and followers were pressed into service. Jesus would do what he could do only after his followers did what they could do. That's why he asks them to roll away the stone. To be an effective follower of Christ, you've got to be about rolling away the stones that stand in the way of what he wants to do. He asks us to remove the obstacles and barriers that keep people from coming to know him. We do the possible, and Jesus does the impossible. We roll away the obstacles, and he repairs marriages, heals hearts, and restores purpose and direction. We roll away the obstacles, and he awakens faith in our children and grandchildren. All these stones we roll away are not theological or philosophical. They're much more mundane than that. The obstacles are much more mundane than mystical. People stay away from church because they think they won't be welcomed, or that they'll be judged, or that we don't want their kids crying in church. Little things are big things, and that works the other way around too. Your little acts of hospitality and service and kindness can change those impressions and remove those obstacles. A greeter's enthusiastic smile, an usher's help with direction. Our SP Kids small group leaders communicate that we care about kids so much that we want them to learn to love church and not just endure it. We want the same for their parents. All these ministries work together, helping people relax and become comfortable enough that they can actually hear the Word of God. And that's a call to you to help with these different ministries. I may push back that you say, I'm too busy. Here's the thing, that all of those parishioners involved in ministry who are serving right now, they're busy people too. Or maybe you have a pushback about your ability or your skill. As mentioned earlier, little things are big things. If you can point and smile, you have what we need. Simple as that. If you have a heart for children, you can serve in our children's ministry. If you know how to talk to teens, you're perfect in our youth ministry. And serving in any ministry is not beneath you either. Frankly, we know that our ministers are overqualified. We have a talented and educated congregation, but somebody still has to take out the trash. That our ministers are willing to do it because they are true servant leaders. Come, roll back the stone with us. May God bless you always.